Remember this one? This is my Uncle Taka'S Japanese black pine. And being in a situation where I can't really easily pick it up or turn it, I'm going to see about moving my camera around. I think this comes close to being a formal upright. It doesn't have an absolute straight trunk, but it is pretty close. Uprights or informal uprights are one of the most difficult because if you're trying to gain taper, you always get a slight movement. But anyway, I don't know exactly when my uncle started this, but I'm assuming that not too long after end of World War II. So I'm guessing maybe he started in the 1950s. So I should get started in pruning this. Well, I had to get it real bushy like this because for a while there it started looking unhealthy. It wasn't bad, but it was just not perfect. So I thought I'd let it grow back hardy, and it did. So now I'm going to cut it back so we could actually see the structure. Also, this might be a goodbye old friend. I've got a deal going. If it does pan out, this and many of my great bonsai will be gone. One buyer. You know, that's one of those dreams that I had. I wish somebody with a really deep pocket would come out and buy a whole lot of my best. And I think I'm getting really close to that deal. So anyway, I thought I better shoot this video before it's gone. Okay, so I've been coming in here, and what I'm doing mostly is removing the healthy ones, right? These nice and healthy looking ones. Get rid of those and save the weak ones, which seems to contradict. But what we want, well, if you did nothing, these will shade the inside, right? And these little ones on the inside would eventually die out, and you end up with all the vigor on the outside. Well, and that could lead to having to make pom-poms. And pom-poms are okay, but I prefer more the classical approach where it very looks natural, because I don't think anywhere in nature have I ever seen a pom-pom tree. Well, if I ever get around to seeing it, I might start doing a bunch of pom-poms. I've seen those in Japan, but I think in terms of classical Japanese gardens, they don't do pom-poms. Well, pom-poms are much easier to do because you could use your head shear. And so actually I think it might have been invented in Japan, although I associate pom-poms with more of a European approach. Yeah, it's getting difficult again with the sunlight. I wish I could bring it indoors, but this is quite heavy. And also, you know, a lot of the examples that I was showing you are in mica pots, right? This one is in a ceramic pot. And on the ceramic pot, you got to be very careful not to spin it without picking it up, because then you'll break the legs. Mica pot, you don't have that problem. That's why I try to keep most everything in a mica pot. And then when somebody purchases it, they could put it in their favorite ceramic container. There's a lot of practical aspects of having a bonsai business. And one of the thing is selection of the bonsai pot. Well, a lot of the great pots are expensive. Well, this one here is very expensive, whoever wants to buy it, although it might be sold, because hey, there's people with very deep pockets that are interested in fine quality, and then they'll probably want to put it in a very expensive new pot. So I don't know, I have it in a so-so okay ceramic pot, because great ceramic pots are very difficult to find, and most people can't afford it, so I won't stock it. See, so I'm basically taking off the vigorous ones and saving the smaller one, so it's going to get in here and it'll get stronger. Backside, although this might have been the front, because a lot of times I rotate things. We'll know when I get done, but like I said, I didn't want to spin this ceramic bonsai pot because I didn't want to break the leg, and it's too heavy for me to pick up. Now, if one of my friends were here, I'll make them help me. But hey, this is Sunday morning, and well, when I got started shooting videos, it was nice and cloudy and cool. Now the sun's out and makes it more difficult, and it's getting warm. So I'll go ahead and doing the same thing that I was doing in your side, taking off the vigorous, saving the weaker one, so we could get the weaker one stronger. And that's more or less how we balance the energy. I guess I forgot to show you that this one, the energy was balanced. The candles in all zones were about equal, and that's how we know that the tree energy is in balance. And we, in the pines, we talk about that a lot, especially important in black pines. This is kind of off the subject, but you know, I told you that I like to watch old cowboy movies and then Pixar movies too. One of my favorites is Cars, and there was an exchange between Doc Hudson and the young driver there. What's his name? Well, anyway, he goes, if you're gonna go right, you gotta cut left. And I always liked that. He says, this old guy, he knows that sometimes you gotta do things that is contradictory, yet that's how you do it when you're driving on dirt roads. It's not like on asphalt. Anyway, I don't know. So I always thought that I was more or less like Doc Hudson, trying to guide some young people that have their own perception of what should be. And I said, no, we gotta do it this way. Yeah, hero the old guy. That's all. Life is kind of interesting that way, huh? But also, in pines, there is no absolute perfect way. I found that different parts of Japan, they address it differently. In this country, different teachers teach differently, and they have their own reasons for it. And I think everybody's right. Nobody's wrong, but I try to explain why I do what I do. And I'm just gonna kind of let it go at that. So as you watch my videos and other people that are showing you differently, that's okay, because that's the way I think it is. Yeah, when I was in Japan, I did travel around, and I noticed that different parts of Japan, they were treating things differently. So even there is no absolute. Here we go with the apex. Get rid of the vigorous, save the weak. Turn left. Turn your wheel left to go right. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, you old man. I really like that movie. Oh yeah, I do have a whole collections of cars. I have more than one or two of Doc Hudson. Well, I decided I'm never going to grow up. I think, oh yeah, and then, like my birthdays, I've been ignoring it. It seems like if you ignore your birthdays, you cease to grow up. Can't stop the aging process, but I haven't grown up yet. Okay, that was getting a little big. See, you don't even see it. Okay, now I think the subject of shortening the needles and cutting the needles. On this one here, if you go back and look at it, I did cut the needles from, oh God, that was 5-6 years ago, maybe. But I was running into the health problem with this, not looking really strong and vibrant like it should. So I changed the soil, and then I'm in the recovery state, so I will not do that again for at least another year or two. So when you want to shorten the needles, make sure your tree is in good health. Right? And then as you go up, some parts may be not easy to see, but there is a great movement and absolutely perfect taper. Now, did I get it as this good? Not really, other than having inherited from my uncle over 30 some odd years ago. Yeah, it was kind of a oversized starter, and I've had to actually create it. My uncle's been gone a long time, and my aunt used to come by and she goes, wow, this will look a whole lot better when Uncle had it. Well, at least he's the one that got me started. Okay, so this was my Uncle Taka'S Japanese black pine. Most likely started probably mid to late 1950s. Anyway, when I inherited it, it didn't look like this at all. I did do the creation because my uncle's been gone for a very long time now. Anyway, because of the situation where it got unhealthy 2 years ago, and I got it to revive, but I'm still going to wait another year to 2 years, make sure that it's in absolute great health before trying to shorten the needles. So people that tend to want to shorten needles too soon, you're pushing your luck. Okay, so anyway, this is Hiro saying goodbye, and maybe goodbye to this tree, because there's a great potential for it to be gone before end of this year. So this could be goodbye, old friends. So this has been the Japanese black pine in slightly slanting, more or less formal upright, fairly straight trunk. It has a little bit of movement, but it's not quite informal upright. Well, this is another one of my, I'm very proud to have created this